Bring an I out. Get I square root of 18. And then 18 is 2 and 9, which is 3 and 3. So there's already an I out there. We're bringing a 3 out to join the I. And the 2, which is by itself, stays under the radical. Answer is 3I square root of 2. Next one, bring the I out. I'm going to have you guys divide 304 on your calculator. What is that? 300 divided by 4. Hopefully it's a nice number. 75. So this is going to be I radical 75. So we're going to bring 75 into a factor tree. So we have 2 5s and a 3. So since there's a pair of 5s, the 5s are going to join the I. So bring a 5 out with the I, cross them out, and the 3 stays underneath. So this is 5I square root of 3. Bring the I out, 18. Bring the I out, 2. Now on this one, I want you to multiply I and get I squared, and then multiply 18 and 2 and get 36. I squared, by definition, is -1. You can type it in the calculator to see, but it is -1. Square root of 36 is a perfect square. It is 6. So -1 times 6 is -6. You could have, since this answer doesn't have a radical, you could have done this one on the calculator. So you want to try it? Let's try it. Square root of -18. Press right arrow to get out of the radical. Times square root of -2 equals -6. There it is. This one you can do on the calculator or by hand. Let's distribute the negative. If we're doing it by hands, that's -1, and a negative is a positive 4I. So here's your 4 terms. So if you add the real parts, 7 minus 1 is 6. If you add the imaginary part, 2 plus 4I is 6I. So the answer should be 6 plus 6I. On the calculator, you would do parentheses, 7 plus 2I. Now remember, the I is, you press second and then decimal. So there's a 7 plus 2I. Parenthesis, minus, parenthesis, 1 minus 4I. 6 plus 6I. Answer. By hand, we're going to distribute 12I minus 20I squared. 12I minus 20 times -1. So this becomes positive 20 plus 12I. The real part always goes first, followed by the imaginary. On the calculator, you would have 4I, parenthesis, 3 minus 5I. 20 plus 12I. So again, every one of these can be done on the calculator. This is 24I squared, which is 24 times -1, which is -24. You can punch in the calculator to check that. These are conjugates. These are complex, because of the i's, conjugates. Which means if you're foiling, you only have to do first and last. First is 25. Last is -9I squared, which is -9 times -1, which is positive 9. So 25 and 9 is 34. Try it on the calculator. This one, we're going to FOIL. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times -5I is -15I. 4I times 2 is 8I. 4I times -5I is -20I squared. -20 times -1 is 20. So 6 and 20 is 26. That's your real part. And then your imaginary part is -15 and 8, which is -7I. Multiply top and bottom by I. So that's 5 plus 3I squared. 5I plus 3I squared. And 2I squared equals 5I plus 3 times -1 times 2 times -1 equals negative 3 plus 5i over negative 2. And if you divide these, you get positive 3/2. Divide this, you get negative 5/2 I. I think we'll do that one on the calculator. So when you punch this in the calculator, you have to put parentheses around 5 plus 3i and parentheses around 2i. If not, you're going to get the wrong answer. Because when you divide, you have to group the numerator like that, divided by, and the bottom has 2 factors, so you have to group that like that. So make sure you have the parentheses, and you get that, and then press math, enter, enter. 3/2 minus 5/2 I. So I'll just go ahead and do it by hand. We have 1 plus I. You have to multiply by the complex conjugate. When you have an I that's part of a sum or difference, you have to multiply by its conjugate. So on the top, you have to do all the FOIL. So that's 2. 2i. 3i. 3i squared. 3i squared is negative 3. So the top's going to be 2 and negative 3, which is negative 1. 2i and 3i is 5i. Bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. You don't need to do first and last because they're conjugates. Negative I times I is negative I squared, which is 1 plus 1, which is 2. So the bottom number is 2. So this is negative 1/2 plus 5/2 I. So on the calculator, if we're doing this problem, again, we need parentheses. 2 plus 3i divided by parentheses 1 minus I equals math, enter, enter. Negative 1/2 plus 5/2 I. Now this last one, the bonus, 8 minus, bring the I out first because you can't keep a negative under a radical, minus 2 plus I, and then 12, factor tree. Bring a 2 out, so this is going to bring a 2 out here, square root of 3. Then you subtract the negative, and then the real part is 6, and the imaginary part, they are like radicals, is negative 3i radical 3. You cannot do that on the calculator because of the radical.